Hello everybody. Well, today is my birthday shave. I almost didn't do a birthday shave today. I thought about maybe doing a shave earlier in the week, and I just didn't get to it. And today came along and I thought, no, I don't want to do a birthday shave. Video at least. But then I started thinking, why not? Had in mind a subject I want to talk about. I'd recently pulled down some soap that I hadn't really used a whole lot, and was still kind of testing it out. I was using this West Coast Shaving Campfire. It's got a really nice scent and aroma, and it's a very hard soap. And I had pulled out a brush that I don't use a whole lot, but I thought, well, a boar brush would be good to really dig into that. So I pulled out one of my more expensive brushes as far as it goes. This is a boar brush. It's got a TGN 3-color banded dyed knot in it. I don't even know if they make them anymore or sell them anymore, but it's a very, very dense knot. It's a lot stiffer knot, and it's broken in fairly good. I don't know if you can tell and see, but when a badger a boar knot goes, the ends of the fibers need to split, and it makes it a lot softer, a lot finer. Well, using this brush with this soap, it's very, very hard. It just didn't work. The soap just kind of fell, and I thought, man, the soap's not very good. Well, I put this brush up, and then I got another brush, another boar brush, and this is a vintage brush. I've had it for quite a while. I don't use it a whole lot. It's starting to crack right here. But this brush it's kind of stiff, but it's also got good split. It's broken real well, and I used it, and it just did fantastic. The leather was nice and rich and thick and flowing. I thought, what was wrong with the first one? Why did using the first brush not work? So then I started pulling out my other boar brushes, and this the Big Shave 2013 has I think it's a Samoa knot, which is supposed to be pretty good. And again, it's pretty thick. It's relatively well broken in. This knot has never performed very well on anything. So then, start pulling out some others. I pulled out my beastie here, which is a vintage knot. Well, not a vintage knot. It's a Omega Barber Pro, and it did real well. Then I pulled out my cheaper knots. This is a Shave Factory Small. Again, it's not as thick. It's not as thick and everything, but it's broken in real well. It did fantastic. I got a Shave Factory Medium. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit more floppy. It's broken in well. It did well. Had this pure bristle. It's a little bit denser, broken in fairly well. It did really well. This other vintage one, rubber set, it's even more stiff. It did very well. And then I pulled out and I used my cheapest brush, which is what the brush I'm going to use today. I'm not going to use that soap because it's my birthday. I'm going to use this soap, which is a soap, even Starova, made up specially for me. As far as I know, nobody else has it. So it's a special treat. It's a tobacco basil, I believe. Love the aroma. And I'm going to do that. I'm using this brush. This is one of those Turkish $2 brushes. They say it's horsehair, but I don't believe it. I think it's not horsehair. I believe it's boar. And I think they say it's horsehair because I think if they were to say it was boar, it wouldn't sell very well in Turkey, which has a large Muslim population that abhors everything made out of, you know, pigs, pork, boars. But it kind of separates out. But this cheap brush, I'm going to say it, for all indications, it's not horsehair, it's a boar. For a $2 brush, it's one of the better performing brushes that I have as far as digging in, making nice lather, and performing. A little water on my face. So, what's the story with that? When you're looking at a brush, whether it's badger or whether it's boar, it's got nothing to do with the price of that knot that determines whether it's going to function very well. In some respects, it's kind of a luck of the draw. Today for my birthday shave, I'm going to use my Gillette Slim. This is my father's razor. This was my very first razor. That was a DE. It was a razor I had a hard time learning how to use because I think it was kind of pretty much loaded with some emotional issues related to my father dying when I was 8 years old. I just had to get over that emotional hump to be able to use it. But now I have no problems with it. So, lessons learned with this little expedition into why did the Boar brush not work well with that particular soap, and so many others did. And I also tested out and used a lot of my other brushes, and it did just fine. And maybe someday I'll do a review of that soap. But lessons learned. First impressions aren't always correct. And that's why a lot of the reviews guys do that are first impression reviews, you may not want to rely on them. Particularly if it's the very first time they used it. And generally what I do is I try to test some things out beforehand a little bit. Unless it might be a razor or something like that. You got to live with that product a little bit. And that's the thing with some soaps, some creams. They just flat do better with a certain type of brush. You know, and kind of a general theme along that line. One of the reasons why I didn't want to do a birthday shave is just in general, and it's It's been me for quite a few years. Just don't really like my birthday. Don't like the whole progression of birthdays anymore. Because it's a reminder of one more year passing. It's a reminder of things not done and things that maybe when you get to somebody my age, some things that maybe I'll never get to do. And, your birthday month, your birthday anniversary can have some real loaded emotional baggage that goes along with it. One of the emotional baggage things for me is my 8th birthday had to be postponed. Well, it wasn't postponed, it was done early, because my father was going in the hospital for exploratory surgery that day. And so then for me to have a birthday party with my dad, I had to do it early. And then of course he died in August following my birthday. So he didn't last long. And I think that always kind of stuck in my head of, you know how kids think about stuff and they relate stuff and put pieces together don't need to put together. I looked at my birthday as an unlucky day. It was the day that they did surgery on my dad and they found bad news instead of good news. So I started kind of the basic philosophy of birthdays just being another day. The day that marks the anniversary of my beginning in this life is just another day. It's really the sum total of my days. What I accomplish and how I live them, that is the most important thing. So that's why I downplay birthdays. I didn't do anything special today. Didn't go out to eat. Of course, I don't have anybody special to make me anything. Here, if I'd have been closer around my family back in Illinois, I'm sure there would have been something going on. Didn't have a cake. Yep, I nicked myself. When you nick yourself, you know it right away. Yeah, I knew that one. I've kind of been recovering from a shave I did. I had used my Gem Micromatic single edge. I pulled out and have been using some single edge there lately. That's a pretty good little nick there. And I made the mistake of using a blade that had been sitting around for a while. I only had a couple of shaves on it. But that blade started off pretty good. But then it ended up it being real rough. And it got a couple of nicks. I got a nick there and I redid that one. I had a nick down there and I had a nick over here somewhere. A weeper. Now I'm going to be talking about single edge razors more here in the future, because some folks have been asking me what are my favorite single edge razors. So I made up some new Cornhuskers I put some honeysuckle in it. Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to get the Septic out. I'll just put that on my arms too. Yep, septic time. But I just kind of my face has been recovering, so I'm gonna take it easy on my shaves, maybe just doing one pass. I've shifted to shaving in the evenings again, so I'm able to enjoy shaving, do a little bit more relaxing that way. Things on the personal life front seem to be working out. There's still some uncertainty, but thank you all for your prayers and continued prayers in that regard. I definitely believe it has a very powerful impact in the result of our lives when we band together in positive thought and petitioning God for intervention and protection. And I had a lot of people wish me happy birthday online today, and I returned back and thank you for the happy birthday wishes. And I return back the wish of God's blessing upon you. And thank you for your support and for your love. Love you all. In many instances, wouldn't know what to do without you all. Even though very few of you have ever met face to face or talked on the phone. It's kind of interesting to sum up. Like I say, birthdays aren't my favorite day of the year. And I was kind of going into this thinking I just want to forget about it. But fairly early on in the day, I got a phone call from a friend to wish me a happy birthday, but also just to chat about stuff. Just daily, routine, everyday stuff. Something that we don't usually do. And it made my day. Later on, I got to talk with Matthias, foreign exchange student we had years back. He's in Berkeley, finishing up his PhD in international politics. Talked to him for quite a while, and it started me thinking about, the old commercials we used to see, and one of them was AT&T, I think. AT&T or Southwestern Bell or one of them, reach out and touch someone. We don't do that in our fast-paced, carrying around our phones every day. We're calling one another all the time, and there's a lot of times we don't reach out and use that instrument to really reach out and touch someone. We communicate so much by text and postings and those type of things. A lot of times the phone conversations, they get kind of lost in the shuffle. But those are the things today that were really special to me. So, blessings to you all. Have some good shaves. Work hard at being happy, but definitely be safe. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.